All right, it is officially NCAA tournament time. I did this last year, thought I'd do it again. Share some predictions for how I think the tournament's going to play out. I think it very interesting way that this bracket shook out. Um, I think there's plenty of interesting matchups. Everyone says it's wide open field, but I feel like everyone says that every year. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll just hop right into it. Start with the Final Four. Won't spend too much time on these games, but as for the 16s, I like A&M Corpus Christi. Um, I think they got a really good head coach that'll probably get a better job soon enough. And then I got Texas Southern, always a pretty good 16 seed. I think Fairleigh Dickinson is kind of clearly the worst team in the field. As for the 11 matchups for the last four in, I got Arizona State over Nevada. I think Nevada's the worst at-large team in the field. Although they are a talented team and they got some guys who can score. Steve Alford, good coach. I still like Arizona State. I think they just got more talent on the floor. And it's bigger game, I think, for Bobby Hurley. I don't he hasn't been able to add too many wins in the tournament and not play in the tournament much recently. So I got the Sun Devils. Then Mississippi State, Pittsburgh, going to be a gross game, I think. These are two teams I also don't think should be in the field. I think Rutgers and Clemson are better than both of these teams, but that's just me. As for the game, I think I like Pittsburgh. Back against the wall for Jeff Capel. Start of the year, his job was his seat was warm, and they surprised a lot of people. Jamarius Burton, pretty good basketball player. Having that go-to scorer, I think, will be big for Pittsburgh. Nelly Cummins, Colgate guy who played tournament past few years. I think I like Pitt. Mississippi State just can't score sometimes, so I got Pitt and ASU, and then Corpus Christi and Texas Southern for the early week basketball diehards. If you're looking for picks in those games, um, as for let's just start top of the South region. We're gonna go region by region and then to the Final Four. I like Alabama to advance. Not going to spend too much time on that game. Maryland, West Virginia, very interesting game. I like both these teams. West Virginia has really been a Ken Palm analytics darling all year. They have 13, 14 losses. Yeah, 14 losses. Ken Palm has them like top 20. And they're a 9 seed. So Eric Stevenson, very good player. Always like Bob Huggins and March, guy who has that experience. Kevin Willer obviously has that experience too. I really like Maryland's team. Jameer Young, they got all the pieces. This will be a great basketball game. I think it'll come down to the end. But I'm going to lean with Bob Huggins and his uh, veteran experience coaching West Virginia compared to Kevin Willer in his first year with a team he's not as familiar with. As for the 5-12 San Diego State Charleston, I think this will be a real popular upset pick. Um, Charleston tied for the most wins in the country, 31. Pat Kelsey, really interesting head coach. I think he's going to only go up in the ranks. Very good head coach. But Dutcher from San Diego State, also a great head coach. And what I'm going to try to do at least this March is the coaching really matters in these games, I think, and it's people who've been there before and people who've done that. And although I do think Charleston's a good team, I think San Diego State, their style of play, I think this game will be able to be played at their tempo. Charleston likes to run up and down. San Diego State, I think, will be able to muck it up a little bit and get the win here. As for Virginia Furman, this might be my favorite double-digit seed outside like the 7-10, like favorite 5-12, 4-13 thing in the whole tournament. Virginia's been an interesting team. I just talked about coaching. Tony Bennett is still one of the best coaches in the country, but just lost Ben Vanderplas, starter level guy, one of their better players, and hurts a team that already is very good offensively. And I think this is if Furman was going to be a 13 seed, I think this is couldn't have had much better draw here, and I think they even have Sweet 16 potential in this situation. I'd always recommend at least picking one double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16. I don't know have the stat off the top of my head, but I think it's happened almost every year, at least in the last decade. So, but as for Furman, Bob Ritchie, young head coach, really like him. He's one of my favorite young head coaches. They have been one of the best teams in the SoCon the last 4 years. They've competed with power conference teams in the non-conference, but last year they got beat on the buzzer to Chattanooga in the SoCon championship. They returned very much of the same team led by Jalen Slauson, a guy who is a legitimate NBA level guy. Like he could get a two-way contract. He could have transferred to a power conference team pretty easily. SoCon player of the year. And Mike Bothwell, very good. I think Furman honestly is just a better basketball team than Virginia this year. And I got them winning. Creighton, NC State. Another interesting game, going to be very high scoring. Terrific guard play on both ends. I do think NC State is an interesting team. This is a toss up game, really. I just think Ryan Cockbrenner it'll be a mismatch for DJ Burns. A lot of people like DJ Burns is fun to watch, but I don't think he'll be able to handle Cockbrenner's length and versatility. Baylor, UC Santa Barbara. This is when it comes to 14 plus seeds, Santa Barbara might be one of the better ones. And Baylor's been reeling, but Scott Drew knows how to win in March. And I'm gonna always trust Scott Drew. Three guards, veteran guards. Not really veteran, but you got Flagler, LJ Cryer, and Keontae George. And I just don't think many teams can match up with that, especially when you're a mid-major program like the Gauchos. As for Missouri, Utah State, another great matchup. There's a lot of these first-round matchups that are going to be very fun to watch. This is one of them, two of the best offenses in the country. Dennis Gates, first-year head coach. Ryan Odom, UMBC, old head coach. Two really good up-and-coming head coaches. I think Dennis Gates will just I don't know. I really like Dennis Gates, guy that I know the Gophers were looking at that would have been a really, really interesting hire. They got all the weapons. It is another toss-up game. But I'm gonna lean towards Utah State. I like their offense a little bit more. And they're I sometimes you just gotta go vibes. I like the vibe in that game. I can give you reasoning behind all, but that's a vibe pick. I like Utah State. And then Arizona over Princeton. Princeton just doesn't have the offensive firepower to hang with Arizona. Alabama, West Virginia. Alabama's been one of the best teams in the country. All the extenuating circumstances that they have dealt with to only have one loss since Brennan Miller's involvement was publicly stated, I think shows you enough their mental toughness. And I mean, they're the most talented team in the country. It really just comes down to that. Them and Houston, I think, are steps above everyone else. I'll get to Houston later. It just nobody can match up with Alabama except for Houston, I think. And it really just comes down to a mental thing. Are they going to be able to deal with all the questions? Is Brandon Miller going to be able to deal with all that? Brandon Miller is going to be the best player on the court anytime he walks onto the court. And that alone with two veteran guards with Javon Quinterly, Mark Sears, got Noah Gurley, Charles Bediako. They just got length, speed, athleticism, a coach that can win in March. It just, as much as I like this West Virginia team, Alabama's just too good. And the only negative is going to be the off the court stuff. And if they can deal with that, and they had the veteran guys like Javon Quinterly, Mark Sears to help Brandon Miller at least push it to the side and focus on basketball. I'm not here to speak about if that's right or wrong, but I'm here picking basketball games, and if they are going to win, that's what they're going to have to do. San Diego State Furman, another really interesting game. I'm going to go with Furman. I think they have a better offense than San Diego State, and they can still play at San Diego State's pace. They're a really good defensive team, and they're going to be my Sweet 16 upset team. It's good to always have one. You don't want to get too excited, and they're going to be my Cinderella story this year. I've been on Furman for a while, in a few years, and they come up short in the tournament a couple times. And I think they could not have gotten a better draw than they got, and I think it's going to show. Creighton Baylor, terrific basketball game. Great guard play. Like I said, Baylor's got that trio. Creighton, uh, Ryan Nemhard, Baylor Shireman, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Just a lot of talent on the floor in this game. I'm going to go with Baylor. Always want to trust Scott Drew in March, guy who's shown he can do it. Just kidding. I'm going to change it on the spot because I can. I'm going with Creighton. And then we're going with this is another interesting game, man. Utah State, I think they'll be able to give Arizona a run in this game. But whoever wins this game, I think they're losing to Creighton or Baylor. So I'm going with Arizona. I think they just got too much. Tubelis, Umar Ballo. Utah State does not have that size at all. But as we'll get to it, Creighton does. I think Creighton matches up terrifically against Arizona. Did they? They were both in Maui. They did play. Creighton lost by 2. Great rematch here. And I think Creighton proved they do have the size to match up with Arizona in that game. And I got them winning here. I think Furman's Cinderella run ends here. A few years ago, though, I think it was 2 years ago. I could be wrong. Some of the same guys on the team, same head coach. Furman went into Alabama and they gave them a very good game. So this will be an interesting game, but I'm going Alabama. And then Alabama Creighton, so much talent on the floor. It might be the two of the most talented teams in the country. At least just depth starting lineup. They just got a lot of guys you can throw at. Creighton certainly can match up with Alabama. But it's just Alabama's too much. And I got them going to the Final Four. The East region. I'm going to spend too much time on this. 16 seed's not going to be able to stop Zach Edey. Plain and simple. Memphis FAU. I said all these first round games are terrific. This one might be Mount Rushmore top 5. FAU tied for first in the country with Charleston with 31 wins. Great defensive team. Dusty May, one of the best up and coming head coaches. But Memphis, one of my favorite teams in this bracket. I think they are horribly underseeded. I think beating Houston, even without Marcus Sasser, should have counted more to this. That was would have been their second time beating them. Or no. Who was Houston's other loss? Whatever. But I like Memphis, Kendrick Davis, and DeAndre Williams, 2 very veteran guys. DeAndre Williams is like 25, which is almost kind of a cheat code now in college basketball with all this eligibility stuff. Memphis has the cheat code. He's just going to be – he's a grown man playing an amateur sport right now. And Kendrick Davis, one of the best guards in the country. And that duo, I think, will I'll get into it, that I think they are going to have a run in them. And Penny Hardaway is going to prove that he's a good college basketball coach because I think he is. Duke Oral Roberts, like I said, San Diego State. Charleston might be one of the more popular upset picks. Duke Oral Roberts might be number 1. Obviously, people are going to want to fade Duke when they can because nobody likes Duke unless you're a weirdo. But they have been playing really good. One of the more talented teams in the country, Derek Lively, Derek Whitehead, Jeremy Roach. They got all the pieces starting to fit together. ACC run. I think they're almost going to be playing more loose in this game. It's John Shire's first year. I feel like they haven't overachieved, but winning the ACC, they're going to be like, okay, like first year we did this, all these young guys. It's not going to, they're not going to have the same spotlight that a normal Duke team has. It's not going to be like last year. They had so much pressure. It was Coach K's last year. The pressure is almost going to be on Oral Roberts because they're going to read all their press clippings. Everyone's going to be like, Oral Roberts, Cinderella story part 2, blah, blah, blah. Well, they are a terrific, terrific basketball team. I think you can make a case that this is a 50-50 game, but I'm going to take Duke because I think they're going to play loose. They've shown that they can play loose. Horrible draw for Oral Roberts. In my eyes, they easily got the best 5th seed. You could make a case that Oral Roberts should have been 11th seed, but I am rolling with the Blue Devils, coming from someone who's not a big fan. Tennessee, Louisiana. This is another one I like, the 13 seed. Louisiana, super fun team to watch. I like Jordan Brown. One time Nevada, then Arizona transfer, McDonald's All-American. That's talent he can match up with. That I think they're going to be able to play a close game with Tennessee. I'm kind of talking myself out of Louisiana right now, but um, I think this is going to be a really good game. I think a lot of people are going to fade Tennessee because of their injury, the injury to Kai Ziegler, which is quite significant, and I think limits their ceiling a ton. But actually, I'm going to go with Tennessee here because I think this will be another very popular upset pick. But Santiago Vescovi is still very good. One of the better guards in this tournament. That dude knows how to play basketball. Everyone hates on Rick Barnes, blah, blah, blah. Tennessee is reeling. But I think they get it done here. Sneak past Louisiana in a tight, tight game, thanks to their size. Uros Placic, Santiago Vescovi. They still got the dudes. They just don't have the depth now to make a run without Zakai Ziegler. Kentucky Providence. This might be the worst quad in the whole thing. I do not like any of these teams. I have not liked this Kentucky team all year. I mentioned Utah State vibes. They got good vibes. Kentucky bad vibes. I don't like anything about them. I don't know why. Providence always really fun. Ed Cooley, good head coach, knows how to win in March. Wins over UConn, wins over Marquette, Creighton. And I mean they got the guy Bryce Hopkins, very good college basketball player, very good guard. I think the pressure is going to be on Kentucky and Coach Cal here. Providence come out playing loose, playing fast. I like them. Kansas State over Montana State. Jerome Tang, terrific first year for the Wildcats. I think they got a really good draw here with Montana State. Montana State is a good team. They were in the tournament last year, and I think they gave their first round opponent a nice run. I think it could be the same. This could be a game where it's close. You turn it on. Kansas State up by 4 with 2 minutes left. You're like, Montana State has a chance. I think it will be one of those games, but Marquise Noel, Keontae Johnson, veteran guys, they're going to be able to get it done. Michigan State, USC. I mean, Tom Izzo in March. You don't want to bet against him. Andy Enfield in March, also really good coach. But I like Michigan State's guards, Tyson Walker, AJ Hogard are 2 veteran guards. And when Tom Izzo has 2 veteran guards like that, I mean, I'll get to it in a little bit, but this is going to be a really interesting Michigan State team. They came up short in the Big Ten tournament, losing to Ohio State, but sometimes that's good. You get a little bit extra rest. Tom Izzo is going to have a game plan ready for all these coaches, all these teams. One of the best coaches in the country, if not the best current coach. And don't want to show my cards too quickly, but I think we're going to see why again this March. And then I'm going with Marquette over Vermont. No idea why Vermont's 15 seed. I think they are one of the more underseeded teams. I think this game could be pretty close, in all honesty. But Tyler Kolek, Max Prosper. I think Marquette, Shaka Smart, they know how to win in March. I think they'll be able to close it out, but it will be closer than the experts say. Purdue, Memphis, upset special here. I like Memphis. I kind of told it earlier. Kendrick Davis. Memphis has better guards, and Kendrick Davis and Alex Lomax are going to overwhelm Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith. Everyone talked about Purdue's freshman guards all year. Like, is it gonna work in March? I think we're gonna see why that doesn't work in March. And Kendrick Davis and Alex Lomax are going to eat their lunch. And DeAndre Williams, veteran, lanky guy, is going to be able to slow down Zach Edey enough. Zach Edey might still get a double-double, but they're going to make mistakes, those 2 guards. And I like Memphis here. That terrific draw for Memphis. If there was one 8-9 team that Purdue doesn't want to see, it would be Memphis. And I'm taking the Tigers. Duke, Tennessee. I think this is where Zakai Ziegler, the loss of him, catches up to Tennessee. And Duke's guards, Jeremy Roach, I think, going to overwhelm them, keep their hot streak going. John Shire's first year Sweet 16 appearance. Providence, Kansas State, another game. Don't like this game at all. A lot of questions at either one of these teams. If they had, were they? I think they both got a good draw. But I think this is really a 50-50 game. And I do have a double-digit seed up here. Providence is a good team, and I'm going with Providence. I'm going to have two double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16 because I can. Jerome Tang's first year as head coach, done great, and I think it catches up from here. Michigan State Marquette. This is my upset bracket. No 12 or 13 winning round one, but I think the Sweet 16 is going to be a mess in this bracket. Michigan State over Marquette. I think Michigan State matches up terrifically with Marquette. Marquette's strength is their guards, Tyler Kolek, Big East Player of the Year. Michigan State, two veteran guards you can throw at them. AJ Hoggard, Tyson Walker. I think this game comes down to the end, and I am going with Tom Izzo in March because he's Tom Izzo. And I think Michigan State quietly has been playing really good since February, much like Marquette. But I got them beating Marquette and then beating Providence as well because I think they match up with them also as well. Also well. And I got Elite Eight run for Big Tom Izzo. Memphis Duke. I'm rolling with Memphis. I love this Memphis team. They played terrific. Well, the day of recording this against Houston without Marcus Sasser, but I think their veteran leadership is what shows here. The duo of Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams, Duke's not going to have an answer. I'm going Memphis. And while this is an 8-7 seed in Elite Eight, this would be a terrific basketball game. Two very good backcourts on both ends. Tom is a really good coach, but I think this is the tournament where Penny Hardaway proves that he is a worthy college basketball coach and sends his alma mater, Memphis, to Houston to the Final Four. All right, Midwest. Here we go. Kind of taking a while. We'll whip through these. Houston, Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky, another team. No idea why they're 16th seed. I think few team Grand Canyon's a little overseeded personally. Like you could switch them with Northern Kentucky. Princeton could be 16 instead of Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky, tough 16 seed, all I'm saying. But Houston, man, for every reason I said I like Alabama, same reason you like Houston. They got Marcus Sasser, one of the best guards in the country. You need a good guard to win in March. They got a NBA player, and they got guys that have been there before. They know what they're doing. Jamal Shedd is a terrific wing defender. And they just got guys. They're just a physical team. I just love watching them play. They're just a really good basketball team. We've seen it the past few years, and I think we're seeing it again here. Obviously beating Northern Kentucky is nothing special. So, but I got Auburn here. Plain simple. I will always fade Fran McCaffrey in March. Nothing more than that. Miami Drake. This is 12-5. I do like. Miami is really talented team. Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, Isaiah Wong, but Norshad Omir did suffer an injury during the ACC tournament. I think Drake, Tucker DeVries, and his dad. Good matchup here. Great draw for Drake. Horrible draw for Miami. This is 12-5. I do have Indiana, Kent State. This is going to be a tough game for Indiana, a team that has been just like, oh man, this is going to be an interesting game. I think Indiana lost first round last year to St. Mary's in Mike Woodson's first year after winning in the first four in Dayton. This is going to be a tight game, man. Kent State, really good team. Like at Houston, lost by 5. At Gonzaga, lost by 7. At Charleston, lost by 2. Toledo, one of the best offensive teams in the country, beat them 2 times they faced them. And dang, I don't even know who I like in that game. I do think Indiana's not having Xavier Johnson's tough. I think if Indiana had Xavier Johnson, they'd win this game and they'd move on. I think they still can win this game. But I mean, Kent State, man, they're kind of like the mid-major version of Houston. They're just got a bunch of dogs. And like they're gonna come to play in this game. But I got Indiana. I kind of told you this true 50-50 game. My main reasoning is I think I have too many upsets, to be completely honest. But so that we're going Indiana. That's not a good reasoning when you're filling out your bracket. But this is my bracket, so I'm doing whatever I want. Iowa State versus Mississippi State or Pittsburgh. I think Mississippi State and Pittsburgh stink. I Chris Jan's shown he's a pretty good coach. I don't know how good he is. TJ Olsenberger, terrific coach. And I like Iowa State. Xavier Kennesaw State should be an interesting game here. Kennesaw State, really fun story. First year, or not first year a coach, but first tournament appearance for their new head coach. And they had like two wins like a few years ago. But I think Xavier, too much offensive firepower. Texas A&M, Penn State, this and FAU Memphis are the two best first round games, plain and simple. I for this reason I like Texas A&M because Micah Shrewsbury has not played in March or not coached in March, and I think that makes a difference. These are two very comparable teams. I love both these teams. Love both of them. Great guard play. Boots Radford, Wade Taylor on Texas A&M. Going to be one of the best backcourts in the country. Penn State, Jalen Pickett, one of my favorite players in the country. Going to be just a physical, rough game. But I got Texas A&M just because Buzz Williams has that experience preparing for March single elimination tournaments. And I think they're just a really good team. And then Texas Colgate. Colgate, another interesting team here. Texas, interesting story. I mean, they're one of the more talented teams in the country. Too much for Colgate. Houston, Auburn, Houston. I'm not a big Auburn fan. I'm not a big Bruce Pearl fan. They got a fun team, enough to beat Iowa, not enough to beat Houston. Drake, Indiana. I got Indiana here. I think Trace Jackson Davis, Miller Kopp, Jalen Hood-Schifino, get it done. Mike Woodson, first Sweet 16 as head coach of the Hoosiers. Iowa State Xavier. I like Iowa State because they play as a team. That TJ Olsenberg is a coach that I want to bet on in March. The dude knows how to coach basketball. Not going to have as much talent as Xavier on the court, but they are going to play more as a team. Sean Miller, guys, struggled in March historically. First year with Xavier, great offensive team, two very different teams, but I think this game is going to be able to be played at Iowa State's pace, and Xavier does not want that, and I think they get by the Musketeers. Texas A&M, Texas. Texas, very interesting team. If Houston and Alabama are my two favorite rosters, I think Texas is a close third. The only thing is Texas head coach Rodney Terry this time last year was not the head coach of Texas. And in November, he was not the head coach of Texas. Chris Beard has his whole situation, gets relieved of his duties. Rodney Terry comes in. Rodney Terry is a guy who does have head coaching experience, not for a team like Texas. And man, that's a tough game. It's going to be a really good game. Timmy Allen, Marcus Carr, Christian Bishop, Dylan DeSue. I think I'm going with Texas. I really like Texas A&M. Really want to bet them or pick them, but I'm not going to because dang, this is tough, tough. I I lied. I'm going Texas A&M. Conference play, they were terrific and one of the best conferences in the country. I don't blame you if you go either way with that pick. I just like the vibe of this Texas A&M team. Hard nose, fun to watch. Buzz Williams, Boots Radford, sick name. Wade Taylor. I think they get it done. Maybe. Uh, I don't know if I see either of these two teams going to the Elite Eight. So I have Alabama. We're going Texas. Same reason I told you. Picking a bracket's hard. And then Texas, Iowa State. I think Tyrese Hunter gets revenge here. They split their series during the season, both won at home. I think Texas just too much firepower on offense, overwhelms Iowa State, Houston, Indiana. I think Houston's veteran leadership pays off here, and they get past the Hoosiers. Houston, Texas, terrific Elite Eight game. If we get these Elite Eight games, man, these are great games. For every reason I said I like Houston, that's why I like them to beat Texas. And I think they go to the Final Four at home in Houston. All right, last region. Kansas, Howard. Howard, cool story, but Kansas winning. Arkansas, Illinois. I will fade Brad Underwood in March, and I will pick Eric Musselman in March. This is 100% a coaching thing. I think talent-wise, they both probably have pretty similar talent. Everyone was high on Arkansas heading into the year. A lot of injuries. Nick Smith comes back. I'm going Arkansas. St. Mary's, VCU. VCU. I think St. Mary's next year will be good. Aiden Mahaney, their best players are freshmen. Teams like that struggle when they do have veteran players. They got Logan Johnson, but I like VCU. I think they're a fun team. Adrian Baldwin, very fun player, fun guard. I think this will be a fun game. I like VCU. UConn Iona. This will be a popular upset pick just because Rick Pitino, blah, blah, blah. But I think UConn will be motivated in this game. I think Rick Pitino will have a tough coaching situation here because he's going to have to tell his team, don't listen to outside noise. But I think he leaves after this game, after they lose. Too much outside noise with St. John's, with Georgetown, with Texas Tech, wherever he's going to go. So I think for that reason, I like UConn. TCU, Arizona State, Nevada. I said I like Arizona State in that game. I think every year but one or two since they've done the plan teams made the Sweet 16. I don't like any of these plan teams, to be completely honest with you. So I'm going TCU. They do have some issue. Eddie Lampkin, who was a starter, some NIL stuff. You can look that up. That's a weird story. But I like TCU, veteran head coach Mike Miles, one of the best guards in the country. Damian Baugh, still a good duo. Too much for Arizona State and Nevada to handle. Gonzaga beats Grand Canyon. I don't think Grand Canyon's very good. They just went on a really good run in their tournament. And Bryce Drew, good head coach, but should have put Grand Canyon against Baylor. That would have been more fun story. Brother versus brother. But I like Gonzaga. Northwestern, Boise State. I like Boise State. Muck it up, play defense. This I think is going to be a gross game in like the 50s. And I like Leon Rice, good head coach. Boise State kind of been struggling recently. But I like them here. Just a vibe pick, really. UCLA, UNC Asheville. If there was an Oral Roberts this year, a 15 seed, a Florida Gulf Coast, it will be UNC Asheville. Drew Pember can match up. He is a power conference player. Tyjon Jones, power conference guard. This game will be closer than the experts think. I think it will come down to the end, to be honest. But Mick Cronin, too good of a coach, too talented of a team, even with the injuries to Jalen Clark and Adem Bono. They're going to get past UNC Asheville close. Kansas versus Arkansas. Interesting game. I think Arkansas matches up well, but Kansas also does. Going to be a lot of guard play in this game. Arkansas really doesn't have a true big man, which is good for Kansas because they struggle against big men because KJ Adams is their center and he's like 6'7". I think there's just too many personalities on this Arkansas team that haven't been able to mesh together with Nick Smith, Anthony Black, potential NBA guys. Eric Musselman is a really good coach, and if they win this game, it would not surprise me. But I'm going with Kansas. I just think this team just didn't fit together for Arkansas. They have the talent, but something about it that just didn't fit together. VCU, UConn. Really good game. UConn team started out so hot. And I still like this team, man. Ryan Hawkins, Adama Sanogo. They got the talent, and I think it's gonna be too much to overwhelm VCU. And Danny Hurley goes to the Sweet 16. TCU Gonzaga. Gonzaga, one of the hottest teams in the country. I think TCU, the loss of Eddie Lampkin hurts in this game. He's a guy who could have matched up with Drew Timme. And I think Gonzaga just outscores TCU. And then UCLA, Boise State. I think this will be an interesting game. Boise State just goes through some scoring droughts, and I think it shows here. UCLA still gets the Sweet 16 despite two major injuries in the last week. Gonzaga, terrific draw for them here. If there was 1-2 seed I'd want them matched up with, it would probably be UCLA Marquette. And I think those right now are the two weakest two seeds. And I'm going with Gonzaga here. I think they've figured it out. Mark Few knows how to win in March. This is a great rematch of the Final Four in 2020, or 2021, excuse me, the year after the tournament got canceled with Jalen Suggs in the half quarter. But I think this is where the Jalen Clark injury catches up to UCLA, and I think Gonzaga takes advantage. Kansas, UConn, great game. I got UConn here. I think Adama Sanogo has a big game here. I think Kansas' lack of a post president catches up to him here. UConn, Gonzaga to go to the Final Four, and I like the Zags. I think Drew Timme goes out of his college career on a bang, with a bang, going to the Final Four. Nolan Hickman, Hunter Salas play like NBA guards. Julian Strother works his way into the lottery conversation. Mark Few proves why he is the best coach in college basketball right now and sends Gonzaga to the Final Four in Drew Timme's hometown or home state. He is from Texas. I don't know if it is from Houston, but he's going to be matched up with the Houston Cougars in Houston, and I like Houston. I think their length, their veteran presence, their guard play, Marcus Sasser in this game out physicals Nolan Hickman, Hunter Salas, Rasir Bolton, and gets past the Zags. Alabama Memphis, great game, terrific game, a rematch from earlier in the year, which was a great basketball game. I love both these teams. This is going to be a really good game, and it would not shock me if Memphis won this game. But do I want to go on a limb and say Memphis goes to the Natty? No, I do not. I say it. Alabama goes to the national championship. I think them and Houston, clearly the two best teams in the country all year. Everyone says it's been wide open. I don't think so. I think Alabama and Houston have proved they're the best teams in the country all year. That game early in the year where Alabama won in Houston, probably the best win of the year, everyone was saying. I think Houston gets revenge and cuts down the nets in their hometown. Marcus Sasser, Final Four most out. Excuse me. Most outstanding player. And Houston cuts down the nets. And they win the championship. All right. That is my bracket. I appreciate you listening. And I hope to see you next time.